everybody. We're so glad you guys could be here. Thank you so much. I'm going to just tell you, my name is Jason Ledlow, HJ Webinar Series, my partner, Trevor Nelson. Anytime you have any questions, if you're watching this live, feel free to ask questions in the chat, feature the questions. If you're watching this as a recording, we'd invite you, on YouTube, please give us a comment. If you see something you agree, disagree, or something you like, please let us know. We'd love to hear that. And as you're going along. And also, stay to the end. We're going to give something away to a nonprofit like we do every week. But we're so excited to have this guest today because I think it's something that, we were talking right before we went live. Nonprofits, everybody has this idea of what everybody else is. And I think the average, staff size is like 2.5 full-time employees. And everybody has this idea that everybody else has got this big committee and stuff. And that's just not the case. Most of us, in the fundraising world, it's not a lot of resources, but our guest today, and I'm gonna let Trevor introduce her, is they're prolific at it. I mean, they've really got it down to a system and raised a substantial amount of money with very limited personnel resources. And they just decided to rock with it, and they just do it. So without any further ado, Trevor, let's talk about it.
Well, thanks so much. I appreciate you. I appreciate Lisa. We've known Lisa and been working with Rescuing Hope for a long time. And it's been a lovely collaboration. I wish they were all like this. But Lisa, so tickled to have you on and sharing and like piggybacking on what Jason said, it's just Rescuing Hope and their Evening of Hope and just what they do in general. They do a lot with a little, and I mean that in the most respectful way. And we're going to get into that and why that's so important and just share, their success. Truly successful organization. It's an organization. We get to work with so many lovely nonprofits and different charities across the country. And there's some that are very, very near and dear. And I want Lisa to, of course, explain what Rescuing Hope does, because it'd be more eloquent coming from her than from me. But yeah, we're going to share the nuts and bolts and what they did at the Evening of Hope that just happened actually a few weeks ago. So it's fresh, and I love that, and just so grateful. We've had a colleague on before, as a matter of fact, as well, Jesse. That was amazing, and Jesse just had a little one, of course, I'm assuming, and so this is just so grateful for the Rescuing Hope team to come on and share some of this expertise and experience. So Lisa, can't thank you enough. Means the world that you'd share this time with us and the audience. And this is going to live on for a long time, as Jason said, on YouTube, and hopefully we can all glean some value from it. So yeah, Lisa, thanks so much. And then please tell us the lovely work that Rescuing Hope does as well.
Oh, well, okay. Well, thank you. I'm glad to be here. Thanks for asking me. So Rescuing Hope is, we're in the fight against sex trafficking here. We're based in Marietta, Georgia, outside of Atlanta. So a lot of our work is done in the state of Georgia. But we actually work around the country. Our founder travels around the country to train and to speak and to help wherever we're needed. So we are not a rescue organization per se. We're more about educating and enlightening people about sex trafficking and what's happening in our country about that. So just to give you a little bit, our mission statement is to enlighten the public about sex trafficking in America, to educate potential victims, and to empower advocates and survivors. So we touch all of those with our ease in our mission statement. We have a staff, I think, of about 6. We have great volunteers. I actually am a volunteer.
Yeah.
So
that's fast.
Yeah. So they'd like me to be a staff person, but
Right.
but I actually am a volunteer and have this was our 7th gala. And my 6th. So
Awesome.
I am the gala chair, even though I'm a volunteer.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's awesome.
Well, I hope that's encouraging. The fact that you're a volunteer, I hope that's encouraging for people to hear that,
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's one of the things to start off with, as we talk about that. So what made you, as a volunteer, I think that's a really good thing for us to have a baseline of understanding before we get in the nuts and bolts of what you guys actually do with the gala. So for you, you may have said, well, they'd like to have me on the staff, but I'm going to keep that. I think that's really important. Sometimes we misunderstand volunteers' motivation. why they want to remain a volunteer, why they would give this time, these things, as opposed to becoming a staffer or something like that. Would you share that with us, just for you, what that means?
Well, for me, it's because for one, my focus gets to just be the gala.
Yeah.
That's really just where my focus is, and I get to do that with my time and however much time is that I want to focus on it, and the closer it gets to gala time, then that becomes, what needs to get done.
Yeah.
But
Oh, yeah.
I'm not going to staff meetings, and I'm not getting other things added on top of what I'm doing, or other fundraising events, because I'm not a director of development or anything like that. We don't have a director of development right now. So our gala is our biggest fundraising event that we have. And we started out just I started out just doing whatever, and then this role just kind of funneled into, hey, we need a way to make more money for the organization, let's do a gala. And Susan Norris, our founder, was like, okay, go ahead. And so
Yeah.
our first gala that we put on was actually me and my best friend as volunteers, figuring out how you do that, and meeting with other people, and other people that have done galas, and trying to figure out how you do that. And we had about 9 months to pull that off. And we did.
Yeah. Well, y'all doing it for the right reasons.
Yeah.
Did
Yeah.
did
Well,
you know
y'all
you
do
were
a
gonna be
great
so good
job.
at it?
Yeah.
Thank
Well,
you. Thank you.
so give us some more back. So in this event, you guys raised quite a bit of money.
Mhm.
Why don't you kind of give us kind of how you go through that, Lisa, when you're breaking down to get everything done? Because obviously, you guys have limited resources that you're working with. Has that been intentional? Have you tried to bring in bigger committees and bring it, kind of tell us what the makeup of it is, maybe when you started, where it is now,
Okay.
in your sixth, after just
Yeah.
finishing your sixth event?
Our seventh. This was our seventh.
Yeah.
Seventh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You're
That's okay.
sixth.
Our
Yeah.
sixth, yeah. So, our first one started out, everything was paper, pencil, and
Yep.
we didn't, we ended up learning about One Cause, which then that's actually where we met Trevor.
That's where we met. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
where we met, yes. So, which is an organization that is a fundraising platform that you can use. And Trevor was there. We learned about HGA. We learned about fundraising. We learned about the best way about running auctions. We learned about what a fundraising auctioneer was. All of these things that then we were able to kind of take back to our board and say, we really would like to start initiating these things and using these things. And they gave us the okay to do that. And so from the beginning, and then every year we started adding these things in, and as we did, our gala started to grow. We started to bring more money in, and started using HGA to bring trips in, started using a fundraising auctioneer, starting to learn more about what fundraising looked like. And
Yeah.
um,
I hope this doesn't
it all
sound too
mattered.
simple. I hope this doesn't sound too simple for the audience, but I just had this conversation with someone recently where it's just, you became students of fundraising events.
We
And
did.
it's just like, I just thought that's just like a really, a nice
Yeah.
nudge and encouragement for people. It's just,
Yeah.
all these resources are there. It doesn't
Yeah.
mean that you have to use One Cause, HGA,
Right.
a certain fundraising auctioneer, but it's like
Mhm.
some kind of semblance therein, and you can
Yeah.
create with the right intention and being patient with yourself, of course, you can create a
Yeah.
really, really lovely event. Lisa, while we're talking about the event specifically and just the growth of it, first year, if you don't mind, no right or wrong answer, what did you bring in?
I think we brought in like $25,000. And we were
This last evening of hope, what did you bring in?
174,000.
It's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just so great. Yeah.
And
just-
that's total. Those numbers are total clear.
yeah.
Clear.
Yeah, that's your net
That's
money.
yeah.
So,
Mhm.
um, Well, if you don't mind, we spend a lot of time, working with nonprofits, talking to them about this, and we spend, I would say, 99% of our time in pre-event fundraising.
Mhm.
Tell us about what your plan is that you guys execute for your pre-event fundraising, like with, sponsorships, underwriting. Give us an idea of what that is when you start. You talked about starting 9 months ahead. We always say, when do I start planning for this? The day after your last one is, important. So talk to us about that, how you guys have grown that, how you have grown that and increased your pre-event fundraising.
The first thing we do is write thank you notes to all of our donors that donated items to us. And not only, we're still in the process of doing that because we had 100 of them. So we use volunteers to help us write that, but we write a script. Our awesome office manager right now, Jennifer, has just compiled that for us, because we don't just write, thank you for this gift card you gave us. We're really specific and looking at what, and our platform gives us this information.
Mhm.
What did that sell in the top 20? Did we have 50 people bidding on that?
Right.
It gives us
Oh,
all
that's
this
really good.
information.
I love that.
Huge.
This-
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I
we
love that.
use that information to let our donors know how much our guests loved that item that they gave us.
Wow.
And if
That's real. I love that.
if we don't have that information, like maybe that item didn't do that great, we just say it was such an integral part of our auction. Something, we give them something.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
So what you're saying is this isn't a form letter thank you. This is very specific.
Wow.
correct.
A lot of
Correct.
time. Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think? Can you give us an impact, like maybe an example of the impact of what that's had? Maybe where somebody's come back and done more.
Well,
Tell
the
us about
impact
that.
is
Because
we
obviously
now
you keep
have,
doing it.
yeah, the impact is now we have some of our local business owners and donors that attend our gala.
Yeah.
And we have repeat donors. So we have a core group of businesses that we can go to year after year that we know are going to donate to our auction.
You built a community.
We've built a community.
It's so
And
good.
so we
So-
have very few. We do have, I would say 3/4 of our silent auction is from our local community who know us, who love us, who we've built a rapport with. And then 1/4 of it is where we've gone out and searched beyond our community. And it's taken 7 years to get there.
Well, I think that's something that, we all sit back and everybody looks at it and they go, golly, I sure wish I could get there. And the reality is it's all hard. I mean, there's nothing
Mhm.
about this, nothing about fundraising that's easy.
Mhm.
And it has to be, so I hear a couple of things. Number one is that you've done this. Number one, it's been consistency over time. And the other thing is being intentional.
Right.
The intentionality that you've brought to your thank yous and, having these handwritten, being very specific about, this was one of our top 5 items or something like that, I think is really good. Because you guys, what did you said you guys bring in 100 items that are donated?
This year we had the least amount of items than we've ever had,
Mhm.
and we made the most money in our silent auction than we ever had.
Awesome.
So
That's
we
great.
were feeling a little like, oh, but
It's gonna work. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, so we had 100 items this year, but we put together 65
Combine
lots.
some donations. Yeah.
Yeah, because we combined some things
Yep.
Yeah.
to, rarely do we put out a gift card.
Sure.
The gift card is matched with something, unless it's something really spectacular. The gift cards are all put together. So for example, like I said, we're from Marietta, Georgia. We have a town square that's fabulous, full of restaurants and shops and really cool places. And almost all of those places give us a gift card. And so we put a shop and dine around Marietta Square basket together. And this year, we got like these little plastic things that you put like a little card in. And so we kind of made like a floral basket with all of these gift cards.
Fun.
I believe that the value of this was like $600, and it went for double that at the silent
wow.
auction. And
That's awesome.
so so that's what I said. We don't, and if any, I think we had a couple of items that stores gave us and we tucked those inside there. So that's why when I say we had 100 items, but we ended up with 65
Mhm.
things, because we moved them together.
Yeah.
We even had places that actually gave us an already made basket, but we tore it apart and used things in different
Yeah.
areas. Yeah.
You know,
There's your permission, everyone, to do that. Okay. By the way.
well, you know,
Yeah.
that's something I think that you brought up. I think sometimes that, you know, it takes some time to do this. It takes some thought, just throwing some stuff up on a table. And, you know, we're seeing silent auctions do exceptionally well in ways that they've never done in the past, because, you know, used to it was 50 cents on the dollar, 60 cents on the dollar, something that's kind of what everybody would think. And we're seeing, you know, I remember going to, they had a bunch of gift cards, and instead of putting them all out, they put like feed a college student, because a lot of people had kids and it was a school. And so, you know,
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
feed a
cool.
college kid for a semester or something like this. And it was, you know, $500-600 of gift cards, like you're talking, and it brings like $1,000.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And that's what everybody was like. They're like, I can buy this and don't have to think about it. And, you know, obviously we're helping the thing, because they were like, yeah, it was ready made, and it
Yeah.
worked.
I think coming up with cool names like that for your
Mhm.
baskets, or, they're really
Branding.
fun names.
Yeah, we call it a vacation station, obviously, because you know the world that we're in. But you know, we're on this. We're trying to start this movement where less is more. But we're
Mhm,
trying to start, you know, in which you learned in real, you know, even though you're like, oh, geez, what's going to happen? You
mhm.
know, but we're trying to start this movement to not throw away a great revenue enhancer like the silent auction, not throw the baby out with the bathwater if you've had
Mhm.
an unsuccessful silent auction, because a lot of folks, there seems to be like a little bit of a trend bubbling, and we're just let's make the silent auction cool again, and we can make
Yeah.
it profitable at the same time, and we do that by not doing what we've always done,
Right.
right? So I think
Right.
rigidity is
Yeah.
probably one of the
Yeah.
worst
Right.
traits for that, and being creative, right? At the same time, being creative, putting these baskets together and ripping apart the basket donation and having the agency to do that, or giving yourself the permission to do that, to make it
Mhm.
cool, you know,
Mhm.
and the
Mhm.
proofs in the pudding. And then also, you know, you did mention, you know, using OneCause, using mobile bidding software, massive, you know, making it real, you know, that's making it easy for folks to give as well,
Yes.
Well, I
right?
think one of the things that you know, and I was going to say it just, and you brought it up, software, real quick. One of the things I think people overlook with software, because they just think, well, it's for mobile bidding, it's just that.
For
The
night of.
data, the
Yeah.
data that
Yes.
is embedded in there is incredible, where you can
Yes.
see things like this item had 50 bids, this one had
Yeah.
20, this one had 2. Okay,
Right.
well, maybe the one
Yeah.
that had 2, why did it only have 2? Why?
Totally.
Well,
Right.
let's think about it and do that. So when do you, here's a big thing that I hear people talking about with the whole silent auction thing and getting the items, because there's a significant amount of time involved. When do you start? Do you have a hard cutoff? Because I know I've had people go, look, I've gave people a hard cutoff, and you know, then they're still bringing stuff the day before the event and dropping it off.
Mhm.
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 How do you manage that, Lisa?
I save it for the next year.
Fair.
And
I
there's
love it. So when
yeah.
you say there's a cutoff, you mean it. It's a cutoff.
Depending on what it is. If it's something that's
Mhm.
just so fantastic, then
Yeah.
I'll keep it. But usually it has to be safe for the next year, because that item has so many processes.
Yeah.
It has to be
Mhm.
entered into the system. It has to be packaged. It has to be then, you know, it has to then be put into our system. We use Google Docs. We have a Google Doc that everything is in.
Yeah.
And so it's got to be in that system, then it's got to be in OneCause system, then it has to be, and then it's going to have a thank you note, and then it's going to, so it's not
Yeah.
just big deal just to add this one more item. It's not that. And then it's got to have a tent card, and then it's got to have, all of these things. So, so
That
we already have, I think, 3 or 4 items maybe 5
Mhm.
for this year.
Awesome. Awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah.
It also makes me think of like for a lot of organizations, we've had this conversation on air before where that's a difficult conversation to have with a
Mhm.
donor that brings something. And you all do so much with a very small shop, so to speak, right?
Mhm.
With
Mhm.
this committee, the folks that are running the gala, you and Jesse, and then there's another individual, it sounds like, right? So, um,
Mhm.
so that being said, it's just there's not too many chefs in the kitchen, so to speak.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
have clear set, it's like we talk to folks that are really successful with 12 committee members. And
Right.
obviously, we talk to folks and share the case studies and the real life examples of success with folks that have 3 committee members. And it
Mhm.
just, how you get away from having those difficult conversations with telling a donor no when they're, it's altruistic, of course, and they're doing it for the right reasons and what have you, is by
Right.
setting these guidelines in place. Has it been that way since 2019? Has it been that? I mean,
No.
it hasn't always been that way. So
No.
did you learn
No.
the hard way or just
Yes.
tell me,
Yes.
because so many folks, I mean, we've done entire episodes, part 1, part 2, 6 months later, part 1, part 2 again, about just managing the committee
Yeah.
that's involved and
Yeah.
making sure everyone's pulling the right direction and how to develop, and things.
Right.
So talk to me about not necessarily the growing pains, but like where you've come, with that.
Yeah. I think our auction committee used to be a lot bigger.
Hmm.
It was just volunteers that would go. They would get everything and anything.
Yeah.
And we would like to have a few more like regular volunteers that were helping get us some stuff.
Yeah.
But it just hasn't happened. We haven't found that commitment, that level of commitment to help us. So really it's me, my husband helps me a lot.
Yeah.
And Jesse and again, I mentioned Jennifer. She got some stuff. And then we had another person this year, Claire, who she works full time. So she did a lot of online getting.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
that's
yeah.
this whole new world where I would send her things and say, can you check into this? And so she did everything that needed to be done online, which
Okay.
is time consuming for me when I was already out hitting the pavement, but then she did all the online stuff. So one of the things I want to tell your listeners is there's this, you guys probably know about it. I wrote it down because I keep forgetting it. It's called theshareway.com. Have you
Okay.
heard of it?
No.
And so,
No. Yeah.
okay, so she discovered this,
Okay.
and it's a place where you can go where they list all these companies that like to give things away to nonprofits.
Awesome. Well, wow,
And
that's great.
so she found this, and we got quite a few things donated from places that gave us things that she just kept sending emails out to them.
Awesome. Awesome. Give us an
So,
example. Give us a few examples.
oh, we got a bog bag that was worth $165.
Okay. Mostly like
We got,
consumer goods, things like that,
yes,
tangible
and
items.
some
Yeah.
of them were gift cards also.
Cool. Nice.
We
What a cool
got,
platform. Wow. Yeah.
yeah. The other thing that we did, the other thing that has worked, we just did this year no, we did it last year too, is using Instagram and Facebook to get things.
Okay.
So, seeing something advertised on Facebook or Instagram, and
Mhm.
then reaching out to that company or that place and
Mm.
asking them if they do donations to nonprofits.
Perfect.
So this year, Susan, our founder, sent me this thing from Instagram, and it was a resort in the North Georgia mountains.
Yeah.
And I sent that on to Claire because she's doing all the online stuff, and she
Right.
sent them a little letter and told them, our form thing.
Yeah.
And they gave us 2 nights at their
Awesome.
treehouse resort.
I
That's
love
awesome.
that. Claire's
And
good too, by the way. It sounds like Claire's pretty good at
Well,
what she does.
yeah,
something
yeah.
that you're
So
bringing up, I think this is really important. And I think this is where I have seen a lot of issues happen with with committees, volunteers, things like that. We start trying to put people in the box we want them to be in and not the
yeah,
box they fit
yeah,
in.
yeah,
Sure.
Like, you
Great
said,
call. Great call.
Claire may not be great at going out here pounding the pavement, going and talking to people, but she's awesome online. But if we
Yeah.
had tried to put her over here where she's going out, soliciting or doing something like that, might not be nearly successful. She might have been miserable because she's like, yeah,
Mhm.
that's not my thing. I don't
But
know.
actually, she was good at that too. But
Well, I was going to
anyway,
say, I don't want to
but
take
yeah,
away,
but
but
I know what you're saying.
She's an
Absolutely.
outlier.
but I think a lot of times we miss out on utilizing the strengths that
Yes,
people have. We
absolutely.
always, there's a wonderful book that I would recommend anybody to read. It's called Good to Great. And basically the idea is to get the right people on the bus, and then you
Yes.
get the people, once you get them on, get them in the right seat. Because
Yes.
sometimes we can have wonderfully talented people who are exceptional at what they can do. They've got they want to be with the organization, they fit, but we've got them doing the wrong thing. And we're
Agreed.
trying to put a square peg in a round hole. And I think that same thing happens with volunteers, committee members, all these things. If you've got somebody who is just loves to go out and, get stuff, let them go. Let them go
Yeah.
do that. Don't
Yeah.
try to, I've had people go, look, we're really trying not to do gift cards this year. We're going to do something different. And I even tell people, if you're going to ask for a gift card, here's some other things to ask for.
Mhm.
But if you've got somebody that's just a machine, let them go. Don't shut that off. There's
Let
other
them
people that are
run.
going to want to do it. My wife is a perfect example. She would loathe that. There's absolutely nothing in the world she would hate more than to asking somebody for money. But when it comes to data entry and doing all that kind of stuff, she's your girl. You just give
Yeah.
it to her. And I know whenever she did the for my son's school and worked together, that's what she did. She did
Uh-huh.
that entire piece of it, and so and loved it. So anyway, great stuff. Hey,
I
I
love
want to
that.
ask you. I'm going to pivot. We've been kind of talking about like silent auction things. Talk to me about like sponsorships and underwriting and how you guys approach that.
Okay, so that is not my wheelhouse, and but I can talk around it. So our founder, Susan Norris, she's the one that went out and got all of our sponsors. And some of them are sponsors that we've had from day one, and some of them were new sponsors. And it's all about relationships and building relationships, and that would be a great conversation to have with her when you have
Yeah.
her on.
Yeah, I will.
I did used to do sponsors also when I first started doing this, and when I came, I took year 5 off because of my husband was ill that year. And when I came back, I said to Susan, I'll come back, but I don't want to do sponsorships.
Yeah,
I was talking about the
It's
square
back to square peg in the round hole. Yeah.
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 Yes. Yeah, that is definitely her
Yeah.
thing, and she does a great job at it.
She's so public, right?
Yes, she is. She is.
And so she's such a great vessel for that, and people
Yeah,
care
and she's
so
the
much.
public face of our organization
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
But
And
using sponsorships and the auction,
mhm.
you can we married that also, and actually that was with Susan's help.
Mhm.
And that was because many of your sponsors have something to give to the auction if you just ask or you
Yeah.
have a conversation about it. So they have
Give an
vacation
example.
homes.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
have vacation homes.
Yeah.
They have this year one of our sponsors had box tickets at one of the arenas here in Atlanta.
Mhm.
And he let us choose 3 shows.
Yeah. You told me about that. Was it Mariah Carey? What we I think
We had
yeah.
Mariah Carey, Justin Timberlake, and
Wow.
Atlanta Hawks game.
Wow.
Yeah,
Awesome.
4 tickets and box seats included all food, beverages, parking, everything. And
You only
so
got that by asking and building that relationship over time, it sounds like, yeah.
yeah. And so that was, they were sponsors, and they have big things to give, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I love that. Let's in the same vein when it comes to sponsorships and underwriting, what have you, because once again, Susan so forth has you have such a great reputation in the area, right? And the community that you've built and what have you. How far have you all gone down the path? Because I don't think that we've had this conversation before with underwriting, like underwriting the red carpet or the photos or the AV system, if you have it all. And there's no right or wrong answer. I'm just curious, like, have we gone down that path as well
Yeah.
as like part?
No.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
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 Awesome. Well, I'll talk to Susan about that too.
Okay.
That
Yeah.
is awesome.
Yeah.
No, great.
I want to ask, so, we've been talking a lot about pre-event, which we've talked about. We spend 90% of our time, 99% of the efforts on pre-event. So talk to me as you start closing in and some of the things that processes, like you kind of went through, these are the things that we do. Like give us, as you're starting to get closer to the event, maybe 2 months out, a month out, just some, maybe wherever a noticeable shift change in what you guys do, starting to put things together. Maybe there's some other awesome tips we can glean out of that.
And then also part B to that question, Lisa, as far as contact with the attendees and donors and how frequent that comes as well, if you don't mind.
Okay. My husband starts making dinner every single night. Let's see. Well, I think we started, I'm trying to think how far out we started selling tickets this year.
Okay.
I think it was June 1st. So our gala was
Wow.
August 24th and we started
Okay.
selling tickets June 1st.
Okay.
And this is the first year this has ever happened. But by mid-July, we were sold out.
Wow.
Wow. That's
awesome.
awesome.
And that's the first time that's ever happened. And that was mainly because Susan had sold so many sponsorships.
Mhm.
And so many tables came with the high level sponsorships that we had.
Right.
So that was a huge reason. But also I think because we do such a great job at the gala of making a really hard subject also be a fun night. And
Okay.
Ask that. I was
Okay.
going to ask
That's,
that. Yes.
I was
So
too.
good. It
'Cause
is a hard
obviously-
subject. No one wants
well,
to talk about it.
right.
I have apprehension about talking about it. You
Yeah.
know, it's just,
yeah.
because I care so
give
deeply
us
about
some
it.
things. I think that's something really important. We had on an auctioneer MC. The guy does all, he provides the MCs for all the Super
You
Bowl
brought up
parties.
some really
and,
good points. Yeah.
and he was talking about, it's really heavy, a lot of these situations, but you got to have fun. And he
Yes.
said, he
And
brought something
celebrate.
up, and I thought what a great point it was, because he said, if you come out of an event and you go, wow, that was really powerful, that was heavy, and the next year comes up, you're going, yeah, I don't know if I'm ready for that
I don't
kind
have
of
any
Yeah.
tears
download.
left. Yeah.
But if it was
Yeah.
fun and you go, oh my gosh, I can't wait to go back, we had a blast.
Okay, great. Yeah.
How have
Tell
you all,
us some-
how have you
tell
all,
us-
yeah, balanced
but
that?
How do you
Yeah.
put the fun in your
Yeah.
fundraising?
Yeah.
Okay, great question. It starts in the pre-function, absolutely. So, we have our silent auction front and center. It is right in the lobby, right down the center. So, people are looking at that. We have learned by making mistakes that you better have enough bars in your pre-function that people aren't having to stand in line at bars.
Okay.
Or they get grumpy.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Hey,
Um,
I'm empty here. Yeah.
Yeah. We have music this year. We try to include the community as much as possible. This year we had a local high school's orchestra band playing,
Awesome.
and we're able to make a donation to them.
That's fun.
from-
That's awesome.
From Gala 1, we have had a live painting going on, and then that painting is auctioned off in our live auction. So they get to watch that painting kind of come to
Mhm.
life.
There's
and-
movement, there's excitement. Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We have this has just been probably for the last 4 years now. we have a golden ticket item.
Mhm.
And so that's happening. And we try to put people that are really gregarious selling those tickets and bugging people.
Good.
So that's going on. The last couple of years, we've done a hole in one. So people are putting golf and it is just, and now, well, we're up to close to 400 people. So it's
Wow.
busy. It's
Yeah.
busy and fun
Sounds like a
and
big party.
it's just like a big party. It is. It
Right.
really is. Yeah. And
You
we
know, on
have,
that
well,
note,
we have picture, there's people are getting their pictures taken. This year we did a 360 photo booth
Yeah.
and
Awesome.
yeah, so that's happening there. And
Yeah.
then you guys know Jordan Campbell. And so when you have
Mhm.
Jordan as your fundraising auctioneer, how can it not be fun? And because he's now been with us for 3 years, he knows our mission really well.
Yeah.
He weaves it in really well. And so, we do serious stuff. He does fun stuff. And he also does the heavy part of the actual ask
Yeah.
for us in a really he does it so well.
Yeah.
We
He's great.
actually book him before we book the event space.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, he's that good.
He's that good.
Friend
He's
of
that good.
HGA. He's been on the
So
You
webinar.
that's
said some. So you said something. I think this is really cool. You talked about having a photo booth. You talked about having a putting game, doing those kind of things. When have you always done those things, or is that something
No.
you've just brought in the last couple of years?
we try to take something away or add something different.
Fresh.
This year was the first year we ever had a photo booth.
Will
So
you do
that
it
was
again?
good. Probably not. The
Okay.
cost was minimal. It was like $450.
Okay.
But when we look at how many people used it, it seemed like there was a line all the time.
Mhm.
But then when we get the pictures back, that it wasn't. It just took people a long time to do it.
And maybe took them away from giving or
Something else. I don't know.
networking. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we've done the hole-in-one putting for like 3 years now, so we'll probably take that away and think about something different to do. We'll
Cool.
always have the live painting
Yeah.
because that's just something that we do.
It's cool. So cool.
Yeah,
Yeah. Cool.
and
I love it.
these are painters that we all know in our lives. They donate their time and they donate
wow.
the painting, and so
Yeah.
that's just
awesome.
been really cool. Yeah,
That's awesome. And
So-
400 people. Holy smokes.
it was close to 400 this year.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Very
Yeah.
cool. Very cool.
We
That's
do
really good.
we do the last couple years we've done something special for our VIPs, have a special area for our VIPs.
Mhm. Mhm.
How
How do you feel about that? Do you think that's a nice tool to use? And
They yeah, our feedback has been really good. They like
Yeah.
it.
I like that too. I like
I
that
do too, because the FOMO, the fear of missing out, is what that can stir for other people.
Yeah.
Somebody goes, well, how do I get back to go over there? Well, you got to buy
Exactly.
you got to buy this level of a table. And somebody goes, oh, okay.
And
Well,
they do ask, and we've had people come back up to registration and say, why do they have a wristband? Why
Yeah, yeah,
don't I
yeah.
have a wristband?
Isn't that
Yeah.
wild?
They want
Yeah.
the paper wristband.
If there's ways that you can create that at your event and folks that actually don't even attend the event, and you can share the story of how much fun it was, you can
Mhm.
create that. We say it every week, the FOMO, right? You don't want
Right.
to
Yeah.
miss that one. And
Right.
creating a
yeah.
fun, a celebratory
Yeah,
fundraising event, right?
exactly.
That
Yes.
that folks want to be a part of. Y'all have just done such a great job, and I love. Well,
Thank you.
I love the painting. I also like the idea that where you had the local high school orchestra. I thought that was really cool. I
Mhm.
think that's so cool, and I think that's something that's right at the fingertips of everyone, frankly, right?
Yeah,
To consider.
yeah.
Yeah.
And they were
Very
so excited to come.
I
It's
bet.
practice for them, as we've done high schools twice now. And
Nice.
both times their teachers said it's such great practice for us to
So
be able
good.
to perform in front of a group like this.
We had a question backtracking to the VIP experience. What kind of value adds are they experiencing other than the bracelet?
It depends what level they're at.
Oh, good answer. You hear
Yeah.
that,
It
Bev?
de-
Cool.
it
Yeah.
depends what level they're at. So it could
Okay.
be, our highest level, our diamonds, they came early. They had, champagne tickets, that they got to, have free champagne, and, they got to meet the board and whoever our MC was, they got to have special time with them.
Okay.
And they had both of those levels had special gifts
Awesome.
that were for them. And
You
they
know,
got certain amount of tables also.
Okay.
yeah.
Backstage passes they got.
Yeah.
Well, I think there's something to that. I think, we have this idea that we've got to go all out for somebody. I had this discussion with somebody yesterday, and they have a sponsorship. They sell for 50,000. They give them 3 tables. And I said, is that something they requested, or y'all just give them? Well, we just give it to them.
Mhm.
Well, not everybody wants 3 tables. Some
gotta
people
fill
just
those too.
still give you
Yeah.
50
They have
grand.
a
They just
hard
want
time
one.
filling them. Yeah,
Yes,
They
yes,
do,
because they go to
because it
10
becomes a
events a
job.
year. Yeah,
Exactly.
I talked to a guy that said, I don't want to have to do that. That's why I always do like the number 2 level. He
Oh.
said, because I don't want to have to fill 3 tables or 2 tables or whatever.
Interesting. That's the
Mhm.
feedback from sponsors.
But the
and
thing
everything.
is, you said, well, we give them some champagne, we give them some time,
Mhm.
And they get access to the
ultimately
board.
thing
That's really
they
inexpensive.
make special. Exactly. That's my
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
It's just making people don't feel like you've got to go spend a fortune on this stuff, but you can make a little special area, make a special time, let people feel special. I'm telling you, that wristband is a crazy little thing because everybody else is going to see it. Oh, how did you get that? Or you
Yeah.
got a little blinky light on. Well, how did you get a blinky light? Well, I'm a VIP.
Yeah.
Right.
You
Right.
know,
Yeah, you
It's
just
a
said
fun-
something. You said something very, very interesting. It's like champagne. You said time, so they had early access. Then they had access to the board. They had probably had access to Susan, right,
Right.
as well.
Yes.
There wasn't 400 people in the room.
Right. They had access to the silent auction before anyone else.
It's not
Yeah.
like they were chauffeured in a Rolls Royce. You know what I
Right,
mean?
yeah.
That just doesn't sound like crazy,
Right.
crazy expensive, but it sounds like crazy high value. And
Right.
it sounds like the most important piece was time and access,
Right.
which is
Yeah.
free.
Yeah.
Wow, that's good. That's really good.
Well, and I think people underestimate what that is. I think a lot of
Mhm.
times,
most important thing.
as CEOs, founders, board members, sometimes they downplay the fact that whenever somebody comes over to their table and goes, "Hey, thank you so much for being here," back to the thank you, they go, "Oh, they don't really want to see me." Well, no, they do. It does
Mhm.
mean something. It is significant. You're wearing a deal. Your badge says you're a board member. It means
Mhm.
something that you took the time to come over and say something to him.
Right.
And I think that we downplay that a lot and we don't understand the value of it, but it does. It has significant value. And
Mhm.
gosh, it's something fun that they remember and you raise more money with it.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. It's different. It's
yeah.
different too. Not all
Right.
events are doing that. Yeah.
Okay. I told you I wasn't going to throw you a curveball. I'm
Oh,
going to
let's do it. Sorry.
I'm
batter up.
going
batter
to
up.
throw you one anyway, Lisa, because I think that we've kind of come to this and it's not going to be crazy. So tell us something that you felt like, and it can be anything in the last 7 years where
Okay.
you're going, yeah, that was a train wreck and we really would never recommend that. That didn't work very well. Maybe something, and it could be anything. I don't care. Just something that you said, whoa, yeah, that was we thought this was going to be good. Didn't work so well.
Using the thermometer.
Oh, good one. Good one. Yeah. Not
Why do you
necessary.
say,
Yeah.
tell us why do you think that?
It was capturing because it was before we used a fundraising auctioneer,
Mm-hmm.
and it didn't capture everything that was made that evening. It only was capturing what was made on the floor.
Okay.
So during the fund to need time.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
And because we weren't using a fundraising auctioneer, the amount of money we made on the floor was a very small amount. We were much more of a transactional gala
There you go.
instead of a
Giving.
um
Emotional.
yes.
Yeah. Wow. Great point. Oh my goodness. So good. Yeah, it wasn't taking a true snapshot of the success of the evening. I get it.
Correct.
But then you said it
Okay.
yourself, transactional. It's so good.
So
Yes.
there was my curveball. Now here's my slider. Okay,
Okay.
let's see if you can get this one.
Okay.
What's something that you saw come in and you were like, I just don't know that's going to be really good. The biggest surprise is what I'm looking for. Something that you said, holy cow, wow, that did fantastic.
Yeah.
Or that was something we got to do that again.
Having a fundraising auctioneer, hands down.
Oh, wow. And his name is?
So you weren't maybe so
Jordan
sure that was a
Campbell.
good
His
idea.
name's Jordan Campbell.
So
so-
yeah, you weren't so sure that was a good idea because it's an investment.
Well, I mean, we got, when we were at the One Cause conference, we got to
Mhm.
see, that was one of the breakout groups that I chose to go to. And I got to see one in action. And I was like, wow, this is
Yeah.
really cool. But
Yeah.
still, it's a huge investment.
Mhm.
And what if the one, we interviewed a number of them here in Atlanta, and
Mhm.
what if this one isn't as good as the one I saw in Chicago,
Right. Right.
So you still are taking a gamble, we don't, again, I'm just this volunteer who
Yeah.
Right.
kind of,
Yeah, you found a good one. Good ones aren't cheap, and I'm
Well,
not saying that Jordan's like
yeah.
excessively expensive, by the way, and cheap ones aren't good. And
Right.
for an
Good
event like
auctioneers
this,
aren't free. How about this? Good auctioneers aren't free and free auctioneers aren't good for the
And
most
yeah,
and
part.
we'd
there's a
already
lot-
had some auctioneers, but
Yeah.
not fundraising.
Yes.
got it. Great point.
There's a
Totally
big
different.
difference. Big
Totally
difference.
different.
Hey,
I got a
I
couple
want to
questions.
just, I want
I got a couple
to
questions, Jay.
accommodate you on that though. I want to make a comment, and I think this is something, and as somebody who was a charity auctioneer, did charity auctions for 30 years, I want to just applaud you for number one, that you interviewed multiple people
Good
before
call.
you made a decision.
Mhm.
What I found, what I found, and now part of it can be referral, because whenever you're referred, back whenever I started doing this was all referral, and it was doing this. There was, when I started doing it, I mean, there was no PAs, there was no nothing. It was just, there was no fundraising auctioneer, it was just auctioneer.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But where I'm going with this is taking the time to interview these folks, call some people that they have used, call references, because what would happen with me, they'd go, hi, we're looking for an auctioneer. Okay, are you available on March 15th? Yes, I am. What do you charge? That was the
Mhm.
only two questions. If I
Right.
wasn't available, well, then they just went on. But then the second one was, what do you charge? And that's the worst thing to ask. Obviously, you need to see availability, but then the second one should be, can I have some references?
Mhm.
Because there's a difference. You get a guy like Jordan, he's worth every penny he charges.
Right.
And then
Then you
some.
get some other, if they paid you to come do it, you wouldn't want them to do your event. And I'm being real serious here.
This leaves so
because-
much money and opportunity on the table. It's a
Exactly.
drag. Yeah.
Exactly. And the inside joke around here at HGA is that auctioneers are the bane of my existence. And I say that very openly. I tell
'Cause you
all
are an
my friends that
auctioneer.
are auctioneers, because I am one, because I understand. 'Cause, they're got their own egos and everything, and I've got one.
Quirky.
And,
They're quirky,
oh,
Jay.
yeah, exactly. But I just, so I want to applaud you for saying that. And anybody listening, please, before you bring an auctioneer in, please make sure that you interview them. Make sure that you check their references, find out who they've worked for, and really find out about the money that they raised, not what they're telling you, what the clients that they work for.
Yeah, good call.
Because
that.
it is so important. And things are specific, like how'd they do in the fund to need? How did they do in the live auction? Have they sold multiples before? Did y'all have any kind of raffle that they did?
How do they
talk
get
about
along with
stuff-
our audience?
Yeah,
I mean, there needs to be some connectivity there with the audience as well. They might be a difficult pill to swallow for the audience, for the that's a reflection on the mission. I don't know. There's
I
all
had
sorts of
somebody
nuance.
tell me one time, they go, well, we knew we might have some trouble when he hit his third martini, and it was 6:30.
Yeah, okay.
Whoa.
That's not fun.
So I'm just saying, there's
Yeah.
things
Jay,
out there.
I hate to interrupt you, but I
No,
want to ask
let's
a
get to the
couple. I want
questions,
to
bro.
get a couple. Kate had a quick question. Thanks, Kate. Appreciate it. And then Lisa, now going backwards, would you display the One Cause scoreboard now if it encapsulated all the giving? Okay, fair. We're not big
No.
fans of that ourselves.
Yeah,
So
okay,
fair question,
okay.
Kate. Yeah. And there's no
I
right
know
or
I
wrong
shook my
answer.
head, so that was a no. Yeah.
No,
Well, can we
I knew
expound?
what you
I
were
think
gonna
if
say.
let's
I knew what you were
expound
gonna
on
say.
that for just a minute. I
Please.
think there's some things that go on with that. Number one, we start putting up a scoreboard, and people want to be on a winning team, and so maybe we've got a goal, and we don't have everything in, or we get some stuff in. Then they go, well, they've hit their goal. I don't have to give any more money.
Yeah, what if you hit your goal? We hear that
I
so
think
often.
I think
It's like,
I think there's a psychological block that happens when we
question.
see those
Yeah.
thermometers, when we
That's
see
a really
that
great
stuff.
point too.
Or how about you're $50,000 away from the goal and you're like, well, we're not going to hit the goal, so I might as well not
Right,
give. There's a flip
right.
side of both, on
Yeah.
that coin.
And I
Yeah.
think that we get too fixated on it. And again, even with software, some of the things doesn't all get there, and somebody sees it. And now I'm for having a celebration at the end of the night and celebrate with people to let them know what they've done. I'm a fan of that. But having it during the event to see it, quite frankly, I just don't think that's a way to go. I think you've got to keep going, pushing.
Hey,
because we talk about it. So anyway, I just want to hit on
not
that one point.
ostracizing anyone if that's what you do. There's no right or wrong answer necessarily.
I think there is. I'm going to ostracize
I
you.
know.
Don't do it.
Yeah, we're gonna throw you out there. But this is getting fun. Hey, Lori had a question, and I think I already kind of know the answer, but we'll let Lisa expand on it. But silent auction, how do you display and notify the winners? I mean, the answer is with the mobile bidding software, right?
Correct.
And
Correct.
that notifies the winners in real time via text message. Lori,
Correct.
yeah, I mean, anything else you'd like to expand on that, Lisa, or just how easy it is?
Right. We're using the tables at the event, and they're just right down the middle. They're covered. We've over the years now, we've invested in like decorative risers so that everything just isn't flat out on a table.
Oh, smart. So smart. The differentiation
and
of the eye.
we So we used to save throughout the year Amazon boxes and then put them underneath the tablecloths. I mean,
You're
it
so
worked.
funny. You're so
But
funny.
now we have much nicer ones.
We don't have to do that anymore.
We don't have to do that anymore. And
Right.
so, we have things, that are displayed up and down. We
Yeah.
still do have, sheets of paper that have to be displayed because it's it's for tickets to go see,
Mhm.
University of Georgia.
Descriptions. Yeah, you have the
something.
descriptions.
Yes. Good.
This year we went from plexiglass to, we found some wooden display things that worked better and looked better on Amazon. So again,
Cool.
and then we try to use something to decorate. This year our florals were eucalyptus and white roses. We
Okay.
had tons of eucalyptus left, and so eucalyptus just was interweaved on our table, and it was beautiful.
Cool. I love that. I love
Simple.
the decorative side of that. Lori, if you have any
Lori, I
questions
hope that
yeah.
I hope that fits that, because the other thing that I would say, because they're using one call software, the donors are notified when they win, so they're going to know
or when they're outbid
when that deal
Yeah,
closes.
they're
going to be notified. Yeah.
if they're outbid, and then we close our auction at a certain time, and they're given a 15-minute notice, they're given a 10-minute notice, they're given, the silent auction is going to close in 10 minutes, the silent auction is going to close, and we announce it from the stage also, because sometimes they're engaged in what's going
Their
on and
phone's
they
at the
don't see their
table or what.
phone
Yeah.
Mhm.
Hey,
Final
to both of
question.
to both of those points, I just want to do a quick deal. Kate, Lori, or anyone watching, you have any questions about fundraising auctioneers, we can help. We can make recommendations. We can introduce you to Jordan as well. And then if you have any questions about mobile bidding software, there's some great companies out there, and we can make some recommendations. We can introduce you to those companies in real time.
We work with all of them.
Yeah. And so
pretty
reach
much.
out to me, Trevor at hgafundraising.com, or Jason at hgafundraising.com, or you can reach out to both of us if you like. And then also any of these kinds of nuanced questions, free coaching, go to our website, hgafundraising.com, click on the resources. You'll see free coaching. You can sign up for a half hour, an hour with Jason or myself. Our time is free, with no strings attached, and happy to share, these stories, because once again, I mean, we get to work with these lovely organizations like Lisa's, like Rescuing Hope for years. We work with 1,000 nonprofits this year alone, plus north of, where we get to share this data. This is what we're doing the webinar for. This is what we do the podcast for, is to share these real stories of what's happening in success.
Thanks, brother.
Yeah, please
Hey,
feel free.
I've got one more question. I think it's so good to get this Lisa's take on this.
From Kate.
So
Yeah.
Kate said, how do you know or estimate how many auction hunt packages of each category there should be, and when do you know, and can you, when you have too many things of one category? So how do you kind of segregate and segment that stuff out, and what do you guys do, Lisa?
It's just by feel. I'm trying to,
I mean, you had 65 silent auction items. There were some experiences. There were gift cards. Hey, were the tickets to the shows, were those in the live?
no,
Okay, though there's in the silent as well. So
Yeah.
experiences. You had
Right.
some travel experiences of ours in the silent. We had what, 3 in the live this year as well.
Yep, 3 in the live.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm not answering for you. I'm
and
just
one, we
riffing.
did one in the silent, which was our first silent. First time we
Gotcha.
did one in the silent, I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
I can't remember. Jordan gave us, actually Jordan, our auctioneer, gave us I think he said 20 per 100 people.
Yeah, you have a big event. I mean, that's 80
Yeah.
silent auction items.
Yeah,
You
so
ended up
we
with
were
65.
we were
Yeah.
shooting for 80. Last year we had 90 and we didn't have as many people. So we decided we were shooting for 50 this year.
Yeah.
And then we sold out with all these people, and we're in July, and we're like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
we don't have
Totally.
enough, we don't have
Yeah.
enough items.
Yeah.
But it worked out fine. It worked out, it was fine. It was, so as far as how many items we have, one of the most important things is price point. Do we have
Okay.
enough items that everybody can participate?
Good.
Things that are on the low end, the middle, the high, not
Yep.
just things that are, valued at
Yep.
hundreds of dollars, and, someone who really can spend 50 and they also want to give something can
Yep.
participate too.
Yeah.
So
Equal opportunity
I don't think
receivers.
I don't think categories are as much of an issue as something that we look at as much as price point.
I want to
Very
just
good.
say
I
this,
love that.
Kate. Here's just kind of a rule of thumb that we talk about a lot in that scenario. Less is more. If you're going to decide whether you're going to go 50 or 60, go to 50. Just because competition, if you have so much stuff and do that. So it's just kind of a simple rule of thumb. But Lisa, thank you so much for being here. I'm going to draw a
Rock,
winner.
Lisa.
I've got a winner drawn.
you.
We're going to give something away
Yep.
real quick. And
Thanks, Lisa. Thanks so much.
You're
for coming.
welcome. Thanks
Yeah.
for having
and
me.
then doing that. And guess what? We're gonna when we send out this recording, which we're gonna send out to everybody, we're gonna put Lisa's email on there. And that way, if you have a
Ooh.
question for her, you can just ask her directly, if that's okay,
Perfect.
Lisa.
Yeah, that's fine.
We're putting your biz
Okay,
in the
let me
street.
share
Thank
my
you.
screen. Our winner is Sandy Goranson. Hey, Sandy, thank you so much
Sandy.
for being here today. Sandy was registered for this before, and we appreciate you guys. I didn't even say this. Allowing us to
with the
skip last
Helene,
week because obviously the hurricane was coming through. Lisa was,
Yeah.
There was a lot
Yeah,
of
I was
concern.
coming through Atlanta.
We
Yeah.
were making preparations, and fortunately, she did not have anything happen there. So, okay, Sandy, reach up and touch the button, and here it goes.
Awesome. Thanks for coming, everybody. Appreciate you so much.
Right.
Really fun.
And 400 HGA bucks,
Whoa.
Sandy.
Nice.
Congratulations.
Sandy.
So, congratulations. Thank you so much.
That's
So
awesome.
you're going to get $400 you can use for any of our items. We're so glad to have you here. Thank you, Beverly. Thank you so much for being
I
here.
appreciate
Beverly
it, Bev.
Witt, she's thanking us.
Hey,
Guys,
Lisa.
have a wonderful week.
Can't thank you enough. Means
Oh,
the
Yeah,
world.
you're
appreciate
welcome.
It's
the
been
time.
Thanks.
so
It was a lot of fun.
it's been so fun working with you all over the years, and we just
Oh,
can't wait
well,
for the
we've
next
loved
time.
it too. I mean, HGA is our favorite place. I mean, you guys are just so great to work with, and our guests love it. We have great feedback.
Thank
Yeah.
you so much.
appreciate
Hey,
it. Thank
give
And
Jesse our very.
this year I bought a trip, so I can't wait
Oh, I
to.
love it. I love it. We'll
go
have
to
you back on and
Portugal.
talk about it. We'll do a travel talk. Hey,
Perfect.
Jesse's healthy, baby healthy. Everyone's good.
Yeah, healthy
give her the-
baby girl.
All right, you give her our very best. Give her a hug for
will.
us, please. All right.
Okay.
Thanks, Lisa.
Alrighty.
Okay.
All
All
right.
right. Have a
Thanks,
great
everybody.
afternoon, everyone.
See ya.
Thanks so much.
Bye bye.
Bye now.